What's up, everybody? What's up? We're back for another BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan. Hey, today we're going to continue to talk about what's been plaguing our job market and our society. Some of the top news is around, again, these federal job cuts. We were talking a lot about it last month. We thought we'd take a break from it, but now we're right back to it. Stick around. If you work for the federal government, have worked for the federal government, know someone that is working for the federal government, because I want to get your insight and your thoughts on today's topic. So stick around. All right, everybody. What is up? Welcome back to another episode of BizBuzz Live. I'm your host, Chris Muzan, your financial coach, taking you through all things finance. Feel free to follow me on any other platform. We're coming to you live right now on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you have some comments, drop them in the chat. I'm more than happy to answer any questions or start any conversations, elaborate on any conversations. But you can find me on all the other platforms as well. Hey, just a quick note today, Friday, April 11th, we're right in the midst of April being Financial Literacy Month, y'all. April is Financial Literacy Month. And so we want to make sure that you have all the resources and tools that you need in order to protect your money, make sure that your financial foundation is good, and continue to build the financial life that you're looking to build. So take some time this month to reach out. We have all types of resources. We dropped 5 ebooks. Recently, we dropped 5 ebooks. One of them is on debt. So those of you that are struggling with credit cards, personal loans, medical bills, student loans, whatever it is, the debt side of things, the debt crisis, if you need some resources on it and just get a framework of what you should be doing, and you don't want to just reach out to me or someone you know, then get the ebook. Get the ebook. We also made an ebook around insurance, whether that be life insurance primarily, but also long-term care insurance, disability insurance, things that protect your income. We have a book on saving and investing. Again, things we talk about here, even on BizBuzz, is about the saving and investing part of things. Most people want to start investing money, but haven't built a good savings habit. We also created an ebook on the estate planning side of things, wills, trusts, having a proper estate plan put in place for you and your family. And then lastly, we have a cash flow ebook, the cash flow ebook. The link to the cash flow ebook is right down there on your screen. This is what BizBuzz is about anyway. The reason some of you that have been sticking around for some time have heard me say, hey, the reason why we started this show is because inevitably sitting down with people financially for years now, we're going on 13 years in the industry, sitting down with people year after year, we start to realize whether they come to us for getting out of debt, whether they come to us because they need help with their insurance protection, or maybe they just want to make sure their retirement is protected. Whatever is happening, normally it comes back to their cash flow. The conversation that we start having comes back to the cash flow for most middle Americans. And this is for people that making, I'd ballpark and say, $250,000 or less in income, normally have some form of a cash flow issue. I saw an article that said 40% of people that make over between $150,000 to $250,000 a year, 40% of them are living paycheck to paycheck. That is a cash flow problem. That's a cash flow problem. And so because of that, we created this ebook, and we have these conversations here on BizBuzz Live about all of the things in your cash flow. Now, the back end of cash flow is you being able to keep more of the money that you're making. Do you have a budget? Do you track your money? I know you know your bills in your head, but do you write them down? And not just your bills, Do you know how much your kids spent on DoorDash last month? Do you know how much you spent on DoorDash last month? Do you know the interest rate on your credit card? They're just basic information that we probably should know, that we should write down, that deals with our cash flow. Do we know how much goes to dining out or groceries, or how much went to Amazon or any of those types of things? If not, I highly, highly recommend that you start to pay attention to those parts of your financial life. All right. Coming up this week, again, next week, this is Friday, but coming up next Wednesday, y'all, I'm doing a financial literacy month webinar, which actually you can, if you follow me on any of the other platforms, find me on Facebook, find me on TikTok, you'll be able to see a little bit more of what I'll be talking about over there and sharing, but more than happy to be able to drop that link here in the chat. Actually, I'll do that for you guys. I'll drop that link so you can feel free to register here and get yourself over to our webinar. Cool. There it is, y'all. I just made it for you. That is the link to our webinar. The webinar is coming up. Let me see if I can share this with you. Share screen. Window. Yeah, y'all. Look, technology is amazing. God bless technology. Right, here we go. This is our upcoming webinar, which is this Wednesday. It is going to be on how to recession-proof your finances. Again, you get it into the Zoom. We're going live over on Facebook. But at the end of the day, this is Financial Literacy Month, and this is our opportunity to help you in your financial life. We're seeing a lot of stuff happen in the stock market. We're seeing a lot of stuff happening in the job market. There's all types of things. So here's how you recession proof your finances. We're going to make it really, really simple for you with a couple of the do's and don'ts when it comes to your financial life. So this is coming up this Wednesday. This Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 p.m. Pacific. Feel free to register there with the link below. It's a bit.ly link /UAFLM, Financial Literacy Month 2025, and get registered, get your spot. The seats are limited. We only open up the Zoom to a certain amount of people. That's why we throw it live on Facebook, because everyone can't get in the Zoom, but the Zoom is where you're going to get all of your questions answered, drop questions in there, the whole nine, and see what you can do to recession proof your finances, ladies and gentlemen. So on to the topic for today, because again, the reason why we start having these conversations around cash flow is because we either A, need to decrease some of our spending, or we need to B, increase our income. And so BizBuzz is to talk about, how do we increase our income? How do we go off and make more money? Now, you might want to get a second, third, or fourth job, but normally that's not going to pay you. You're going to run out of time in the day. You're going to get burnt out. The jobs are not going to be accommodating. Your schedules are going to be conflicting. And at the end of the day, they're not going to pay you everything that you're worth. Then some people jump into the gig economy. The gig economy, you drive Uber, you drive Lyft, you do DoorDash, whatever the case is. You babysit, you pet sit, you house sit, you write papers for people online, all types of little things, right? That could work, but I've talked to a few people recently that are door dashing. That's like, man, this isn't adding up, right? This isn't working out the way I wanted it to. This isn't how I thought it was going to be. All the money that I'm making, I spend in gas and some type of maintenance. At the end of the day, I don't even get all the orders that I want on peak times and all the stuff, right? Someone is still controlling a bit of their income, I guess you can say. So that could be an answer. But here's the real answer. We just got to figure out what your skill sets are and where you can go utilize those skill sets to be able to make more money. If you don't have adequate skill sets in 2025 that work for the job market, then you need to increase your skill sets, improve your skill sets, grow on your skill sets so that then you can become more valuable to the marketplace. So then you can make some more money. Whether you choose to do that in the form of a job or whether you choose to build your own business or take part of a business, it's up to you. But at the end of the day, you make money to the level of your skill set. Okay. You make money to the level of your skill set. So today, want to talk about a topic we've been talking about for some time now, which is uh, these federal these layoffs. I was on TikTok yesterday and I saw a a lady that was hosting a live, and it said like federal workers support group. It said a federal workers support group on TikTok live, right? And so I was curious, as I always am, and I opened up the live just to see. I do this sometimes. I don't know if you all do this, if you float on any other platforms, but when there's a live going on, I normally like to see like how many people are listening to this, right? Like how many people are paying attention to this. The ones that really blow me away are the real dumb ones, like someone just sitting there like eating food or something and they got like 1,000 people looking at them. That always amazes me. But this one was a support group for federal workers. I go in, there's about 250 people inside of this live. 200, and this is not like a very popular person or anything like that. It's just community. And I went in there and I listened for a little bit. And there was some panelists, some people that were, on TikTok, you can have like multiple people speak. You can invite other people up on your live. So there's some other people speaking and just talking about the pain and the anguish, right? Really bad times for people in the federal job market. A lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of anger. There's a lot of emotions going on. And I have empathy for that, right? Just sitting and listening. It's not that I didn't have empathy before, but like I have empathy for people that go through these really, really traumatic, work situations. I've been blessed to not have to be traumatized by my work or a job that I had. I chose very long time ago to not have anyone control my income, no matter how much I like them or the company. Maybe because I got exposed to it very early. Quick transparent story, y'all, since we're here for it, right? I got fired from a hotel that I worked at when I was in college. And the reason I got fired from that hotel was because I had put my college dry cleaning, right? I went to Johnson and Wales University and we had to wear either like business attire or we had to wear our culinary uniform, whichever one. And I remember I had put a couple like business shirts in the hotel dry cleaning, right? In the hotel laundry, basically, with my name on it and everything. The reason I had done it, or I believed I had done it back then, is because I was the supreme, like the star server of this boutique hotel. And I worked maybe 20 to 25 days in a row for them. I was always there. Morning, they moved me to dinner. I was always there. If they had if they had very important people coming in, I was the one serving them. I got handpicked from another restaurant to come to this restaurant to come to this to come to serve at this hotel. I believe the GM ate at the restaurant I was at previously, handed me her card, said, I need you as a server. I need you to come work with me. I jumped ship. It was more fine dining. I was not in fine dining right at the time. I was at the Crab House or something, the Crab Shack, Crab House, something like that. And then they plucked me out and they were like, hey, you're really good. Come work for this 4-star, 5-star, boutique hotel on South Beach. And I go there and I'm the star server and I'm doing all the stuff, bringing in all the big wigs and I'm the one serving them. And it's a good time. It's a good time. I was really good at it. They really liked me. And so I worked more than I went to class. I prioritized my work more than I prioritized school. But because I had to wear these, business attire, culinary outfit, those things, I didn't have time to do my laundry because I was working for this restaurant, working for this hotel, doing all the right things, showing up on time, star server. I put 2 or 3 pieces of clothing into the hotel laundry, just dry cleaning so I can get it done because I was already working. They found that and and said that that was stealing from the hotel. So they fired me. Guys, I was 21 years old, maybe turning 40 this year. I was 21 years old, 20, maybe 21 when I was working with them. And it baffled me. It baffled me at a very early age. I was like, huh. I remember sitting in front of the GM that hired me. And I remember her name. I'm not going to put it out here, but I remember her name. And she was like, Chris, this is pretty black and white. Because you didn't ask for permission to put your 3 shirts into our hotel dry cleaning, and you were just going to take them, that looks like stealing from the company, and we can't do that. So, right, we're going to let you go. And I didn't understand. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I've brought in probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of, revenue for you guys from me serving all the big wigs, and you got anybody that you're whining and dining, I'm taking care of them, and they get star treatment service, and then you guys benefit from that. And because I chose to work for 20 days in a row, 25 days in a row, and helping your business, and yes, obviously it was putting money in my pocket, but I was helping you guys grow this hotel and the brand and all the stuff. And because I put $7 worth of dry cleaning, $10 worth of dry cleaning in the hotel dry cleaning without asking for permission, that was stealing. And now I don't have a job. Didn't make sense. I learned that lesson very early. I was 20, 21. I was like, oh, okay. No matter how good you are or how much you like this, they can take this away very quickly. Now, I know many people have not experienced that, and with specifically what we're talking about today with these federal job cuts, like you didn't expect that at all. Maybe you've never experienced this. It sucks that, you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s experiencing it. But I knew this was the way that it worked a very long time ago. Federal, public sector, private sector, it didn't matter. When someone else controls your income, they can control your life. They have the say of when you can and when you can't do something. So as much as we would think, and I think that's what I was hearing in this support group, is just the shock of like, how could this happen to me? Which is a very real thing. How could this happen? How could we get laid off? How could, I heard a lady on there say like her and her boss, because they don't know, everything changes day to day. They're like on pins and needles. They can't handle the discomfort. They can't handle, right, the uncertainty of what's going to happen day to day. They're crying at work. They're crying with each other of the circumstances that they're in, which again is tough. I have empathy for. But we gotta get better, and like this should be a wake up call for people. And unfortunately, I don't know that it is a wake up call, because something that I've heard and something that we've seen is that many people from the federal side that are laid off on the federal worker side are just going to state work. It's the exact same thing. They just think, I guess it's better on the other side. So people that are getting laid off by the federal government right now are in their mind actively thinking about going to state government for the same things that they would have gotten on the federal government side. And I don't know. I'll ask you guys the question. Do you think the grass is greener? Do you think the grass is greener on the other side? Like, do you think if you were a federal worker, or you are a federal worker, would you consider going to becoming a state like government employee? Are you worried that the same things could happen? Or do you believe that the grass is greener? I'm really curious to hear that. I don't know. I just shared with you. I haven't had a job in a very long time, and I learned this lesson a very long time ago in my 20s, that like nothing was stable about a job, no matter how good you are, how much you like what you're doing. That has no, right? It has no bearing on if you're going to be there forever. But now that people are experiencing this from a federal government standpoint, which I'm sure you thought you'd be there forever, why go to the state side? I'm just curious. Drop some comments if you're paying attention. Drop some comments in here and let me know if you think that the grass is greener or if potentially the same things could happen. Here's some stats though, just so you know. Federal layoffs are still on the rise. Just so we understand. Like CDC cut another 4,000 jobs. There's all types of departments that are continuing to be dismantled day after day. That's where the uncertainty comes from. They don't know whether or not they're going to have a job in next week or next month, which is a very scary thing to someone that creates their life around certainty and stability. If that's your operating system, if that is, I do a morning mindset call, guys. So I was talking about this last week where we talk about the 6 basic human needs. And one of your basic human needs is certainty. It's to feel certain about some things. And many people that work for the federal government or in general have a job, right? Certainty is a need that they try to meet. So whenever certainty is not being met, right? Whenever certainty is not being met, you don't know what's happening with your job. You don't know what's happening in your career. You are uncertain. One of your basic human needs is not being met, especially if that's a high human need for you. So in the federal layoff side of things, that's why people are feeling this. But the other side is, just so you know, states are hiring. States are hiring laid off federal workers. Pennsylvania specifically, the state I'm in, Pennsylvania specifically received 1,100 applications from former federal employees because they announced that they were looking for federal employees. There's programs now that are being launched for helping laid off federal employees transition to state and local roles. So many people that have these skill sets and been working for the federal government, now under new administration, things are changing. Well, they're just going to shift to local roles, right? Federal workforce was 3 million workers, but the state workforce is 5.5 million workers as of last month. So 5.5 million employees work for individual states. So if this is you and were laid off from the federal government, and there's an opportunity for you to jump into state work, do you think it's safer? Again, I don't know that answer. Do you think it's safer? Or do you think the same thing could happen again? How do you think about this? What are some of the pros and cons to switching to state work? Well, the pros, I'm sure, right, that there be immediate openings for some critical roles that you could probably fill, and you get direct community impact, right? When you're in local government, when you're in state government, you'll be able to impact people a little bit more potentially. Sometimes states have lower budgets, though. That could be a con. Sometimes states have lower budgets, so maybe they can't pay you as much. What I know is most states are not doing well in their pension system and those things. So continuing to overload that system, again, down the line, is that safer? I'm not sure. What if a state, if they pass a law, here's something that's a saving grace for many of you to know when it comes to the pension side of things. Right now, a state can't file bankruptcy. A state cannot file bankruptcy. Only cities can. But if a state can ever file bankruptcy, there goes pensions, because they can take those away. So we have to be mindful of some of these things as we start to switch and talk about pros and cons. But I'm just curious, again, what's your thoughts on this? If you're a federal worker, do you see it being safer to go to the state? Or if you were a federal worker, do you think getting out of government in general is smart? not just because of what you know, but because of what you see up ahead. And this is important for everyone that's going through this process, specifically anyone that got laid off by the federal government. Now, I'll say the same thing in the private sector as well. If you got, and I've said this before, if you got laid off in the retail space, your store shut down, do you really want to go work more retail? You just want to find you think you want to find a better company to work for in retail? If you got laid off from something in the tech space last year, because 2024 was big for people getting laid off in the tech space, would you go back into tech just with a new company? I'm not sure how you guys think of this thing, and I'm not here to tell you how to think of it. All I know is bringing in income, your cash flow, will determine the rest of your financial life. How you choose to earn money will determine how how much you have to be able to save, to invest, to pay off debt, to build a legacy, to get to the place that you want to go financially. How you earn money. So if you're not thinking about how you're earning the money, you're missing the mark. That's the first step. Many of you chose to say, hey, I want to earn money by working for the federal government. I was taught I should go to school, get good grades, get a good job. What I heard a good job was something that was safe and secure. That's what I know is a good job. Safety, security. Pays me okay, and I get benefits. Does this sound familiar? Again, no knock on this. It's just this is a form of programming. Safe, secure job that pays benefits. Well, that's why people started working for the federal government. Now we get a new administration. It's flipping the whole thing upside down. Again, I don't want to debate if it's right, wrong, and different. Doesn't matter. It's just what's happening. So we take the facts of what's happening and then we figure out what we need to do with them. So now the thing that we felt was safe and secure, we based our life around certainty and security. We realized security is an illusion, and now we're scrambling. And now we're like, what do I do? So do you think the solution is, well, let me just go to state government? Sure, it could be. But what if you get a new governor? What if you get a new mayor? What if your state or your city files bankruptcy? Is there still safety and security in that? Are you still happy with the benefits? Or now you're just older, further down the road, and still can't change anything? All right. That could be one side, or it could be exactly what you're looking for. It could be the safety and security and the benefits that you needed to retire at the age of 62, 65, 67, and ride off into the sunset. Could be. Or maybe you take your skill sets to the private sector. Maybe you start building business for yourself. Maybe you collaborate with some other federal workers and figure out, hey, what are your skill sets? What are your skill sets? What do you do well? What do I do well? What resources do you have? What resources do I have? And maybe you put together some things to be able to build the financial life that you're looking for. These are all just options, ladies and gentlemen. These are all options. And I don't know what's right for you, but what I do know is you need to find a way to earn money. I choose the entrepreneur route. I know people out there like, everyone can't be an entrepreneur. Sure, but everyone can be more entrepreneurial minded. Entrepreneur minded means you take ownership for your life. You might not want to take all the risk and the responsibility of putting up all the capital and all the risk and all the stuff. You might not want to do that, especially if you don't have a skill set in some things. That's perfectly fine. There's ways to do it without risking it all. You can ask me about that. How do I create a business? How do I go out, create income without taking on all the risk? That could be one side. The other side is, how do I use my skill sets to be able to go off and earn money in the areas that I see that there's a need in? These are all ideas that you got to start thinking about. If you are sitting back and you were just laid off, or you're thinking about getting laid off, take ownership of your life. It's the entrepreneur mindset that I believe in. If you don't want to have all the overhead of the business, Go be a number 2 for somebody. Go be a number 3. I used to hear people say this in different ways, but the number 5 person at Facebook made a lot more than the number 1 at some random startup company back in 2017, 2018, 2015. You could have been the number 5. Good buddy of mine is a solid number 2, and all of his financial dreams are coming true. All the stuff he's been working for is now happening for him because he identified that I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm an intrapreneur. I don't want to have the risk. I have a family. I don't want to do that, but I'm really good at owning my life and owning the positions I'm in and owning the things that I want to make happen. So he stepped into a business and he owned the business like it was his. He didn't own it. He was the number 2. He reported to the owner, but he made decisions like he was an entrepreneur. He didn't create that like a job, like, oh, I just show up to get a paycheck and I do my job. No. He created things. He spent extra hours and time to create new things, to put new initiatives in place, to train new people, to put new systems in place. Like all the stuff that an entrepreneur would do, he did by being an intrapreneur, by owning his income. That's what this is about. So if you're sitting back and you are thinking like, man, I got laid off, what am I going to do? You're going to work crying for your uncertainty. Take back ownership. You have skills, you have value. Your only value does not come from the job that you create, the job that you have. The federal government did not give you your worth, did not give you your value, did not create things in you. If it's just a job, move on. Move on. I know it's hard. I know it's emotional. I know I have empathy for people that lose their job, but move on. Tap into you and your skill sets and what you have to offer and bring to the table, and then go out there finding out who needs that. That's how you go take ownership of your life. I don't know if state work is going to be more beneficial to you than the work that you were doing with the federal government, but I do know that if you're thinking about you being able to earn the income you need for your family, you got to tap into you and your skill sets and the things that you know you're good at. All right, y'all? It's my message for you this morning. BizBuzz Live. Again, we're talking all things cash flow, but this job market, specifically the federal job and state job side, has been very prevalent in our society. If you know somebody that is a federal worker, just got laid off, if you are a federal worker, drop some comments. I want to hear what you want, what's going on, and are you taking ownership of your life? Are you taking ownership of it? Or are we just going to complain about the government? Because that's not taking ownership. If you just say it's all wrong, they're all wrong, woe is me, that's not ownership. That's victim. We got to take ownership and say, it sucks that happened to me. We lick our wounds a little bit. We get around some support. You get around people that say, hey, your life can be better after this. But we might have to think about it differently. You might have to tap into some more personal things instead of the external things that you thought were keeping you certain and secure. But you can do it. I do a morning mindset call every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll start dropping some more of those links in here in LinkedIn and YouTube so you can jump on if you need a little boost in how you're thinking. Because if you change your thinking, you'll change your life. So if you change the way you're thinking about the job, if you're changing the way you're thinking about your life will change. The outcomes will change. And I'm here to be able to help you with it. Again, feel free to follow me on all platforms, y'all. We do this every single Friday here on BizBuzz Live just to talk about what's happening from an income standpoint. There's a lot of noise out there, but you got to be thinking about the noise differently. Even if you cut out the noise, that's great. That way you can focus on you. But all the noise that's out there, all the rhetoric, all the stuff, you need to learn how to think about it properly so you can get to your desired outcome, which is building a healthy, strong financial foundation and getting your family to where you need to go financially. So until next time, y'all, next Friday, we'll be back. All right, BizBuzz Live.